Except for that last bit about coal and nuclear, I agree with Bill. And also remind you that we haven't talked about the form of renewable energy that is by far and away the largest source presently serving Minnesota. That's hydro. Most of that's coming from Canada. And Canada is poised to deliver lots more if we want it. I'm not certain that for other environmental reasons it's the best choice, but from a carbon perspective, it's got a good profile, and it also is a baseload resource, and I think will continue to be a fairly sizable part of our mix going forward.
Okay.
I'd like to have you guys talk about vehicle miles traveled, and my question is twofold. In the standards that you mentioned that the 2007 legislative session passed, regarding vehicle miles traveled, what is that standard, and are we going to be able to reach that just through providing public transportation?
Yeah, there were no vehicle mile travel standards per se in the 2007 session. There was a reduction in CO2 from all sources overall put in place, but not specific goals. And that was really left to this Minnesota Climate Change Advisory Group, which did recommend a number of strategies to get to a reduction in vehicle miles traveled, improvements in drivetrain efficiency of automobiles, and lowering the carbon content of the fuels that we use. Those three strategies in combination in the transportation sector are seen as the way to attack the problem. You know, transit is clearly a part of the solution, but it's one of a myriad of approaches. We're looking at things like fee baits for automobiles, that gas guzzlers would pay a tax and gas sippers get a rebate. There are certainly strategies for improving access to bicycle lanes and other transportation alternatives to cars throughout the metro area. I don't know if you noticed it, but this summer I've seen more people on bikes than I have at any time. It's actually become a bit of a hazard, but you know, if we're building our roads correctly, I think there should be opportunities for those alternatives to exist. So that's where we are on that.
And if I may, on that one, if the approach is that we want to give people more choices, and driving here to the hotel this morning, we passed this West End development, a great example of a mixed-use development where there's retail, there's office space, and people would have the opportunity during lunchtime to go do a little shopping without getting in their car and driving 5 miles. What a great thing to do to give people those sort of choices. But if the idea is that as an end in itself, we should just drive less, then I don't think that's a particularly useful way of attacking the problem. In fact, I think that's it's turning the problem on its head. It's not about let's just stop doing the activities that use the energy. Let's find out how to continue to do the activities we've been doing all along, but do it in a more energy efficient manner. And a lot of these are going way beyond giving people alternatives, but raising the cost of an activity that somebody doesn't like for aesthetic or a certain notion of energy efficiency, and taxing that activity to the point where it stops. That is, we're going to put tolls on roads, or we're going to put the gasoline tax up so high that people are forced to, for economic reasons, switch to public transit. If people find public transit more convenient, great. I hope we have more opportunities like bus rapid transit and the Central Corridor light rail line to give people those choices. But if it's just about we're going to reorganize society in a certain manner to achieve an end which we may or may not achieve by a certain set of means, and I'm not for that. We should have an energy policy that works with the people's aspirations, not against them. If you look at polls, most people prefer to live in single-family homes on their own piece of land. Most people prefer to own their own cars and be able to go where they want to, when they want to. We should not be, just for the sake of energy efficiency, organizing society so that we take those choices away and work against people's aspirations. We should have people do what they want, live their lives what we want, but give them the tools and the means by which to do it more energy efficient, and not make energy efficient see the tail that wags the dog.
Dan, one last question.
If you could switch your futures for just a minute, what role do you see nanotechnology playing in the future for both production and conservation of energy?
The question was, what's the role of nanotechnology in conservation and energy? And production.
Bright would be my one-word answer, but since I have an economics and a finance background and am not a scientist, I can't speak to the technical aspects of it, but that kind of, it's a part of a larger trend of miniaturization and applying higher technology to a whole host of problems. And what's amazing about the electric utility and natural gas industries, wonderful industries, I depend on them every day, but they're really 19th century industries. And to the extent that we can take 21st century technological solutions, whether it's information technology or nanotechnologies, and apply those technologies and those tools to what's considered by today's standards an ancient industry, then we can see some of these amazing efficiencies. Smart grid would be another example of something in my futurist hat that there's a lot of potential for, but perhaps Bill can speak more to the nano part.
No, as a poli-sci major, I'll say whatever he said.
Great. Well, that wraps up our program this morning. I want to thank Bill Glenn and Bill Grant for coming out today, and I also want to thank our series sponsor, Grand Casino, Mille Lacs and Hinckley, and our this month's sponsors, Amoresco, Centerpoint Energy, Great River Energy, Politics in Minnesota, Capital Report, and Voyager Bank. Thanks for coming out this morning. October 16th is a program on healthcare next month, so don't miss that. Thank you.